Hey everybody, and welcome to my car. So sometimes I just sit in my car because I don't feel like getting out of it yet, and that's how I feel today. I was thinking about what type of video I wanted to make next. I have an unboxing one to do when I get home because I got a package in the mail today. But something that's been on my mind is some of the physical effects that happen in my body just due to the medical conditions that I have. So officially the medical conditions that I'm suffering from are chronic kidney disease, which is now kidney failure, having to do dialysis, gastroparesis, anemia, I would say like generalized pain where like my body is always in some sort of pain. And then I have, I'm post-transplant kidney and pancreas. So medically, I'm still down as a type 1 diabetic that is treated with a pancreas transplant. But I don't have to check my blood sugar anymore or take insulin shots. But that's the short list of things. I think that if I looked at my diagnoses on like my chart, if I'm in the hospital or something, they always have a couple other things. I know one of them is also like chronic kidney infection. There's a name for it. Pyelonephritis, chronic kidney infections, chronic UTIs, that sort of stuff. And then I have delayed stomach emptying and a delayed colon transit. So there's a lot. Yeah. So in this state, like I'm pretty malnourished. I try to eat a balanced diet as well as I can, but I still fall short in many areas, and that contributes to the weakness and the anemia and just a few different things that I'm going to talk about with you now. So some of them are superficial and I recognize that, but I just want to keep in mind that there are physical aspects of ourselves that are important to at least my self-confidence and even just my comfortableness with myself. So the biggest thing I think that bothers me being in this condition is my hair. My hair. Growing up, I had beautiful, thick, long, dark brown hair. Really strong. Like I would put it back with like rubber bands from the newspapers, like those really rough, kind of tacky rubber bands, because my hair, today if I did that, it would probably rip my hair out. But around 18, 19 is when I started getting pretty sick, and my hair just started falling out. And I've had up and down the last decade with it. A couple times I have had it. I typically have my hair on the longer side because I like longer hair. But sometimes it'll get so bad that I have just chopped the whole thing off and start like with it here, thinking that it's going to grow and stronger and better, and it doesn't typically work. After my transplant, it got a lot worse. When I first started on all those medications, it was kind of like coming out where I could do that and just pull it out. I lost probably over half my hair after transplant, and that was like an earthquake. It was really upsetting because I had this transplant that I was more than grateful for, but then I had all these physical side effects that were devastating to me. And then about a year and a half, 2 years after my transplant, it stopped falling out and started to grow back. And then about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, it started falling out again. And that's when I started getting extensions, which it never left my mind, like this isn't my real hair, but it made me feel better about it. And I've had them taken out a few times over the last 2 years, especially when my hair's been on the stronger side, the healthier side, and it's been fine. But last time I had the extensions put in, I had longer ones put in, and I And it's noticeable, I think, in my videos when I got the longer extension. Like my hair goes from about here to about like here. And they were great. I loved having the long hair because that's just the hair I've always wanted. But then about a week and a half ago, I went to my hairstylist because it was time to move them up. And she noticed how much more of my hair was falling out. And she took all the extensions out to like give me the deep like hair wash. And it was, I looked at myself in the mirror after she washed it, and so much of my hair is gone. It was one of those times when you're in the salon chair and you just cry about your hair. And I know it's so much more than my hair, but that day it was just my hair. And I also know that having extensions can pull on your hair, and especially having longer ones, they're heavier. So we decided to not put the long ones back in and only do half of the extensions of the shorter kind that I have. So these are still extensions, but they are just, it's half as much and it's shorter than the other ones. It's still a lot thinner than it was with the extensions that I had, the full-on long ones, but if I didn't have these, I don't know that, I don't want to think about it. I know that the upswing will come, but the hair, one thing about my hair, it is still very shiny and silky, like my natural hair. And I had her look and I was like, you are honestly the only person that ever examines my hair except for me, and you have a better vision because you can see the top of it. And I don't have any gray hairs yet, so that's something I can hold close to my heart. But yeah, it's just, it is absolutely a diverting subject to take my attention away from being afraid of what's happening with my body, is to just super focus on my hair. But that's how it is. I just ordered a halo that just goes around the top and doesn't, because I'm probably going to get these extensions taken out too, just to give my hair a break, and the halo doesn't pull on your hair. So I'll try that out. You guys will probably see it and notice it, and that's fine. But yeah, so I mean, the same thing with the hair is also like my nails. I have a good shaped fingernails, but in this state, they are very brittle, and I'm a picker. So when they grow longer and they're not strong, I very easily just like rip them off. So that happens. You know, with my gastroparesis, it's a kind of a nightmare. It means delayed stomach emptying and delayed digestion. Like it's paralysis of the vagus nerve in your digestion area. So that gets really uncomfortable because it causes food to just sit in your stomach for a really long time and not move. So you get very, very bloated and very uncomfortable. And sometimes my abdomen will be so swollen, I almost look like I'm pregnant. And it's painful. Like the stomach skin, it like stretches. And that's really difficult because it's hard, like body dysmorphia images, you know, dealing with that aspect of it. It makes you not really want to eat anything, because for me, I know trigger foods, but then I'll eat the same thing every day, and then all of a sudden my body will just be like, we don't want to digest that either. So it's kind of touch and go with that. And it's terribly uncomfortable. And then with kidney failure, I'm on dialysis, but it's not a 24-hour solution. So especially at the end of the second day, until I go into dialysis the next morning, I'll start to, you know, retain fluid, and I'll start to get swollen. And my main area that gets swollen first is my right calf. So I'll be walking and I can feel, like physically feel fluid start to build up in my lower calf on my right leg. And then I know it's just going to spread up to my body. And that also can cause abdomen swelling, where sometimes it's hard to take in a deep breath. And that's really uncomfortable. The anemia, I get very tired. I don't know actually that I get tired, or if I just am never not tired. I'm tired a lot. And I bruise really easily. And that's hard because with the dialysis, I get poked every other day, twice in my arm, and sometimes it makes a really big bruise around it. And that looks kind of gross. And it startles my self-image because I get covered in bruises. Being like this, and not really going out into the sun, just because with my immunosuppression, my likelihood of getting skin cancer is a lot higher than somebody that's not on immunosuppression. I don't go out into the sun very much. And my skin tone, growing up, I was a tan little kid. I always had tan skin through the whole year. Part of that is genetics. I am half Japanese, and the other half is English, Irish, French, and German, just FYI. But I just had more tan skin growing up. But in the years that I was so sick, and then in the past few years when I've been sick, my skin has paled to the point where it just looks kind of ghastly. Like, I got COVID in November 2020, and I didn't go outside. I didn't do anything. I have, side note, I was getting to the point where I get spray tans. I get spray tans every 1 to 2 weeks, and I started that back like in 2019. So November 2020, I got COVID, and obviously COVID, I hadn't gotten a spray tan since, the whole summer. 2020 basically, since like March on, I didn't get any spray tans for like a year. But then I got COVID, and so I had been going on walks outside. I put on my sunblock and stuff, but I still kind of had a little bit of a healthy color. But being inside with COVID, I took a picture of myself once when I had the COVID, and it's like I'm almost blue. I'm so translucent, and that type of skin being bruised, it's just not pretty. So I do get a spray tan every 7 to 10 days. I feel like it helps me attain a healthier glow, which detracts from how ill I might look otherwise. Yeah. So another thing that happens with my anti-rejection medications is it causes my hands to tremor. So sometimes, like, I'm in my car right now, I'm holding my phone and it's not shaking too much, but the biggest area that I've experienced it is my handwriting. My handwriting has always been something that I've been very proud of. It's beautiful. Like, one of my sisters had me address her wedding invitations and the name cards at her wedding because my handwriting was just beautiful. And now, it's like my hand gets tired really fast, and the motion of the writing, it's just maybe 1 out of 7 days will it be neat, and even then it's only neat, like my standard of neat for my handwriting, for maybe an hour. Another time it's just like my hand just won't cooperate with writing neatly, no matter how slow I go or how fast I go or how hard I concentrate. But then there's some days when my hands just are like this, and it's hard. It's hard. And that's one reason, like I've mentioned before in a couple of my videos, like I don't like liquid eyeliner because when I go in with a liquid eyeliner and my hand is shaking, I'll jab myself in the eye, and nobody wants to jab themselves in the eye with a liquid eyeliner. So I'm trying to think, I don't know. I mean, it's sad, but I've gotten to the point with like infections where I know when I'm getting one. I have these feelings in my body, like my whole body will ache. My skin will feel like it's on fire, and I get chills, but I'm also sweaty. I don't typically run that high of a fever, but the pain that radiates from somewhere in my body just takes over my whole being. And about a day before that happens, I can feel it coming. And not problem with that, but one situation I find myself in is when I go in to give labs, my team won't prescribe me antibiotics until like a urine culture comes back to tell them which infection it is, which on some level I understand. But on another level, it is those 2 to 3 days between giving the sample and getting the culture back that I start to fall apart. And then I have to be hospitalized. So it's kind of like, as much as I like to be prepared and I'm like, good, I know this is coming, it doesn't really help me because sometimes I can't get treated before it gets really bad. I feel like I kind of always walk around on the brink of an infection. So it's not great. So that's like a quick rundown. I mean, I guess it's a 15-minute rundown. And I want to end this saying that these are conditions and symptoms and things in my life that affect me and my mental health and my physical health and my emotional health. But again, when I put them in the big picture of my life and I think of all the things that I still have that are positive and encouraging and good about my life, like I can handle this. I've got this. But I don't need to downplay it, and I don't need to pretend that I feel great all the time. I was talking with one of my sisters. I can't remember which one it was, but it might have been Claire. She was like, you know, the past couple of years or year and a half or so, like I've really noticed, like you're much more open and willing to talk honestly with like physically how you're feeling. You know, because for a long time, like I didn't want to talk about it with people. I wanted to put it under the radar. I wanted to play it off and just be like, this is happening, but like I'm fine. Like it's all good. It's all gonna get better. And now I'm kind of like, this kind of sucks. And it's not good, but I can still be in a happy mood. But I feel like crap. So being realistic with myself and with others with how I'm doing, I think is important for me to stay authentic and stay on top of not drowning in a pit of just sadness. So anyway, car talk. I have some deep thoughts when I sit in this car just like thinking about stuff. So that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all next time.